Are you looking to grow your dental practice and attract top-tier new patients? Discover the potential of digital marketing with a personalized strategy session. Join Lila Stone, the marketing director at Equa, for an exclusive 90-minute consultation. Lila and her team will dedicate 6 hours before your meeting to create a customized marketing plan specifically for your practice. This valuable opportunity is free of charge and comes with no commitments. Visit www.insuranceuntangledorg/MSM to schedule your meeting with Lila today. You'll also receive a free analysis report so you can start transforming your practice through the power of digital marketing.
You are now listening to another episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast, where we explore the various challenges faced by dental practices due to their reliance on insurance. Join us in this podcast as we dive deep into the issues surrounding dental insurance dependence and offer practical solutions and strategies to help you take control of your practice's financial future.
Welcome to another amazing episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. My name is Ben Tuinei, and I'm one of the co-hosts on this podcast. And as you know, we've developed this podcast to help you untangle yourself from insurance. We talk about a lot of things: marketing, insurance, business, you name it. Today, I have a good friend and co-host with me, Naren. We're going to discuss some really important marketing concepts. Naren, how are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Doing very, very well, thank you. And I'm especially excited about this episode because I'm usually the one that's being asked these particular questions. And so we're gonna turn the table here and get your perspective on this whole concept of reducing PPO dependence. So the topic that we've selected is, if I am a PPO practice or PPO doctor, and I want to reduce my dependence on PPO plans, where do I start? All right, this is a jam-packed episode full of great stuff that we're going to talk about. So, Naren, first question for you. So, let's just rephrase the title. So, for a PPO practice that feels stuck, and they kind of feel like, well, I can't get out of insurance. We hear that all the time. Like, why do you think doctors feel stuck with insurance and feel like they're locked in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, usually, when a doctor starts practicing, the first thing he needs is new patients, right? So he needs a way to get new patients. He's thinking, I'm sitting there doing nothing, let me do something. So the PPO plan walks in, I'm figuratively saying, right? And they're saying, oh, well, I'll give you unlimited amount of new patients. No problems. I'll give you however many you want. But here is a 200-page document for you to sign about all the terms and conditions. And one of the terms and conditions is that for every patient you see, I'm going to control how much you can charge. And I'm going to, even that lower fee that allow you to charge, I'm not going to even give you that full fee, that full lower fee. I'm going to even take a piece of that and only give you part of it. And my explanation for that is, well, I'm the one sending you patients. So in exchange for me sending you patients, instead of, let's say, if you do $1,000 worth of dentistry, you will collect from me $540. So the other $460 is vanishes, right? You don't even pay them the $460. Literally, they keep it. In other words, after everything is said and done, you do $1,000 worth of dentistry. A month later, you get a check for $540 from the PPO plan. Now, if it's only one patient, it's okay. But imagine you're doing $1 million worth of dentistry, and you're only collecting $600,000, right? Why? Because of the PPO plans fixing your fees, and also the PPO plans not paying you the full fee that, even in the fixed lower fee. So you end up giving up $400,000, for every $1 million you are doing, or $450,000 for every $1 million of dentistry you're doing. Now it adds up and adds up and adds up. You keep growing your practice. Now you are collecting $1.5 million. Now you are giving up maybe $1 million in the form of a write-off. So the bigger you get, the harder you have to work and the more you have to pedal. And if you go back in history, the annual limit, going back to the 70s, for example, the early days of insurance plan, it hasn't gone up as much. Maybe it went up from, $700 to $1,500. Maybe it doubled in like 40 years. But the cost of living in those 40 years or 50 years have gone up 10 times. So your employees are not getting paid what they used to get paid in the 70s. They're getting paid 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Your electricity bill is 10 times. Everything else has gone up 10 times. But the limit that they allow each patient to charge to their insurance plan hasn't kept up, right? So pretty much what's happening is you're getting squeezed. So the older or the longer you have been on PPO plans, the more your fees are fixed, and the more you are getting squeezed. So I think they get in because they feel like it's better to be busy than not to do anything. But then what they don't realize is they sometimes even lose money. So when you do the math after you pay your rent and your team members and everything else, in many, many cases, I've seen situations where doctors are better off not doing any dentistry. In other words, for every patient they see, they are losing $70, $100 because their expenses are more than what the PPO plans are willing to pay for. So what's the point of being in business where you work for free, you the owner dentist, and you end up losing money in some cases? So the thing is, you don't have to continue with that journey, right? Especially if you have 10 plans, some are really, really bad and some are okay. You can kick out the worst plans. You don't have to put up with this nonsense. And then hopefully if you are a practice that is not even dependent on PPOs, where you are attracting patients who appreciate you, who value you, who are willing to pay for your services, then you don't have to give up any money to these PPO plans. Pretty much everything you make, you keep.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. I think the theme of doctors feeling stuck with PPOs and thinking that they're going to lose all marketing opportunities. Like what you said, about 95% of the patients are coming in somewhere else. It's actually true where in the PPO world, only 5% of people that have a PPO plan will find their dentist on the PPO website. It's not a very high number. So I think that's the biggest question you have to ask yourself as a dentist is, where are those patients really coming from my insurance? And the answer to that is no. So that kind of brings up the other issue, Naren. So if you're in network, and I always ask this question, is the PPO write-off synonymous with a marketing fee? Like what say you on that? Are those write-offs? Is it a marketing fee or not?
Absolutely. And I want to just touch on something you just said, Ben. You said only 5% of the patients who are coming from a PPO plan find you from the PPO website or PPO's database. The other 95% are using Google. They're using Google reviews to find you. And that's why most of the time a new patient calls, the very first question is, do you take XYZ insurance? Why? Because they didn't find you on the insurance website. If they found you on the insurance website, they know that you take XYZ insurance. Because they didn't find you, they found you because you had wonderful Google reviews. You provide a great service and you provide a great experience. So that's what's making them choose you. So why are you spending so much money in the form of a write-off? Because think about it. What does the insurance company do for you? The PPO plan. It sends you new patients. So if it's not a marketing fee, what fee is it? They're not helping you with treatment planning. They're not helping you pay for your tech costs. They're not helping you with your employees. So the only thing they're doing is sending you new patients. So they're sending you new patients, but really they're not sending you new patients because 95% of the new patients are finding you through Google anyways, even the ones on PPO plans. So why do you have to give up, 45 cents on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar every single time you see that patient for as long as that patient is with you? So if the patient is with you for 10 years, you're not paying that marketing fee only for the very first visit. You're paying it the second visit, the third visit, and the 100th visit 10 years later. So you want to make sure that, you don't get into this trap where you are giving up, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, per patient, over the life of that patient because they are on that PPO plan. What if you are not on that PPO plan, right? They're choosing you because you are an amazing dentist. Yes, not everybody will choose you, because, they don't want to pay anything out of pocket. But then there are those who don't mind paying a little bit out of pocket for a great experience, who don't mind getting all the things that PPO doesn't pay for done, like sedation and, smile makeovers and so forth. So why not attract those people and keep 100 cents on the dollar? And keep in mind, only half of American adults are on a PPO plan, or less than half. So what about the other half? They also need dentistry. They also have jobs. They also want to have, beautiful smiles. So why not fish in that pond where nobody's fishing? Because most dentists are with a PPO plan. What if you are one of the few people who is so friendly and so good at what you do that those who want to pay cash seek you out?
Right. Yeah. Create your own pond, and where you only you can fish in. Yeah, that's a great perspective there. I have a follow-up question to that, Naren, regarding these write-offs. Is, if I'm hearing this and like, holy smokes, $1 million production, writing off 450,000. How do I determine how much I spend as a PPO practice in the form of a PPO write-off? Like, how do you determine that?
That's a great question. So the way to determine how much you spend in the form of a PPO write-off is you have to, we have what we call the PPO write-off calculator. And, just write to our team, just go to the Insurance Untangled website and, contact our team. Typically, we ask for 3 pieces of information. How much are you collecting right now, right? So if you're collecting $1 million, then your answer is we are collecting $1 million in the last fiscal year. And then the second question we ask is, what's your average write-off? So just look at the most popular plan and just look at what your usual and customary fee is for one of the most popular services versus what you actually get paid. And typically we are seeing this number to be minimum 42%, but it could be as high as 50%, 55%. So what is your average PPO write-off? And then finally, what percentage of your patients are on PPO? So for example, if you have 1,000 patients, if 700 of them you think are on PPO plans, that means your, percentage of PPO patients is 70%. You give us these 3 pieces of information and we will tell you plus or minus 1 or 2% what your write-off is. And I'll give you an actual case study. So this is a practice that was 80% dependent on PPO plans, and they were writing off 42%. So their average write-off was 42%. And they were collecting $1 million. This particular practice had to produce $1.536 million to collect $1 million. So in other words, the write-off was $536,000. So to collect $1 million, they're writing off little more than half of, what they were collecting. So $536,000. If I were to divide it by monthly, they're spending on marketing $44,000. So this could be a massive number that you're spending without even realizing it. So you're working really, really hard to make the executives at the insurance company rich. Definitely, patients are not getting rich because they have all these rules and things around, what's covered and how much is covered and, et cetera, and so forth, right? So it's not really helping your patients. So you're not really doing any service to the patients. The people who are getting rich are the fat cats at the insurance companies, the executives who just do nothing and keep all the other money that, in the form of a write-off.
Yeah. It's a big number. Some practices don't even track it at all. And so I like what you said there. I feel like it's very important to know that write-off and not be afraid of it, but use it as a tool to affect change for the better in the practice. So if I'm sort of in that realm, Naren, and I'm like, I took a look at these PPO write-offs. Yes, I need to get rid of some of these dental plans. How do I decide which PPO plan to drop first?
That's a great question. I think the way to decide which PPO plan to drop first is to, get a handle on your PPO plans. How many, and sometimes you might have umbrella plans where if you drop, it's linked to 7 other plans. Just find out how many patients on that particular plan. And typically, rank them based on who pays you the best and who pays you the worst. So who's paying you the worst. And I would start by dropping a plan that is small just to kind of get some experience, and ideally one of the worst offenders, meaning who don't pay you as much anyways, and they're a tiny plan. That way you get some experience, how to deal with this, once you go out of network, how do you keep as many patients as possible? Like typically if you do it right, 70 to 80% of the patients will stay because you can be insurance friendly, you can help file the claims, you can help them collect, meaning the patients get every penny that the insurance company is willing to pay. Remember, most plans, outside of closed plans, which have a very, very tiny fraction of the plans out there, will pay even if you're out of network. Of course, the way they pay might be different. They might pay you, the patient, or pay the patient, and then you collect from the patient. But regardless, most plans will pay whether somebody's on network or not. So even after you drop the plan, you don't have to lose your patient. You can keep 80% of the patients. Remember, they didn't come to you because of the PPO plan. They came to you because of your Google reviews. They came to you because you're exceptional at something you do. Assuming that was true after they came to you, they're not going to leave, right? They don't mind a little bit of the hassle they have to go through to, work with you. But They will stay with you because healthcare is very personal to them. You don't switch doctors like you switch the store where you buy your milk from. I mean, you have a relationship. You trust the people. You trust the doctor. So you stay. So you can really, really play this really to your advantage, where you end up not having to deal with write-offs anymore by dropping these plans. And that means you get to keep the extra money, right? So if let's say you are giving up $536,000 every year for write-offs, like we talked about, maybe in year one, you get to keep an extra 100,000 because you only dropped 20% of your plans. In year two, you drop another 20%. Now you get to keep another 100,000. So before you know it, without doing more dentistry, of that $1.536 million worth of dentistry you do, you get to keep most of that money versus in the prior example I gave you, you only kept 1 million. So you were giving up 536,000. So without doing more dentistry, your revenues go up and up and up and up, and you get to enjoy your patients. Remember, because you're getting full fees, you can afford to spend more time. You can spend a few more seconds or minutes building relationships, getting to know them, treating them like family. So they get even more attracted to you, and you start attracting people even more who value quality, who value relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So Naren, as it pertains to this whole realm of dropping insurance, you said start with one that's small, the worst offender, lowest fees, build up your experience, use it as a training platform, right? And that way you can make some mistakes and not have a whole lot of fallout compared to starting with a big PPO plan, I heard you said many times in the past conversations and podcasts, is that you do recommend that, while you're in that phase one of going out of network, is that you really need to beef up your marketing, or even before you start the out of network. And the reason being is because when you're out of network, patients call, the first question that almost every person that has insurance asks is, do you take my insurance? And you have to be really good on the phone to have a really good conversion rate of those patients, right? But beefing up the marketing, I hear you say that it's very, very important as part of your out of network journey. Can you explain to our listeners why?
Yeah, I mean, let's say we talked about, the marketing write-off. So let's say you're getting $1,000 from the insurance company for a particular patient, but you're doing $1,700 worth of dentistry, right? So in the first year, you're giving up $700. Now that patient stays with you for 10 years, you're giving up $7,000, right? So your marketing fee on that single patient is $7,000. Now, you need to replace that, even though it's so expensive, you still need to find another source of getting that new patient. Instead of that patient coming through the PPO plan, you rather perhaps are really investing in Google Ads or search engine optimization. And all of a sudden, you're getting 20 new patients. Now imagine you drop 4 plans, and those 4 plans used to send you 10 new patients a month. Now, you don't need that 10 new patients because your marketing plan is giving you 20 new patients, right? So that's one reason why you want to beef up your marketing before, dropping plans. The second is, we know some patients will drop out. Some patients are only coming to you because it's free. So the minute they have to pay a little bit of a copay, or they have to, pay you with their credit card and then get paid at the end of the month with a check from the insurance company, there'll be a few who never appreciated you in the first place. They will quit. But usually that's around 15 to 20% if you do things right. So you need marketing to replace the people you're going to lose, and also to attract people, because now the PPO plan is no longer sending you new patients, right? Because you're no longer listed in their directory. Now, I agree with Ben. You can also get good at phone conversion. So if somebody calls you from, let's say, Aetna plan you dropped, you can say, we have many, many, many patients, as long as it's true, who have Aetna. We have an insurance coordinator who will help you get every penny from Aetna. Even though we are not, part of their PPO network, we help our Aetna patients get every penny from the Aetna insurance plan by filing their paperwork. The insurance coordinator will work with you. So do you want a morning or evening appointment? In other words, don't make that an issue. Think about it. People never paid for their insurance, right? Most people are getting it for free. So in their mind, it's worth what they're paying for, which is not that much because it's free. It's given to them as a benefit. As long as I get to use my benefit at your store, I'm happy. I see the Google reviews. I see how wonderful you are. I see all the tech. I went to your website. I see all the cases you've done. You are amazing, right? So that's why they're calling you. They're not calling you because of Aetna. So as long as you help them collect as much money from this free thing they have called a PPO plan or an insurance plan with Aetna, they're happy. So you just have to get good at answering the call in a way where you don't lose them. If you say no, then of course There's no reason for them to continue talking. So on one hand, I would work on improving my marketing proactively. So I have a stream of patients coming in through marketing versus through the PPO plans only. And then on the other hand, I would work on verbal skills. I would teach my team. I would listen to phone calls to make sure every phone call coming in, whether the person is with a PPO, without a PPO, are booking appointments.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. So as far as marketing options, like what are the options for marketing that you would say are good to focus on, and what would you recommend as probably the top form of marketing for dentists out there these days?
Yeah, so of course, digital is 95%. So let's focus on digital. Within digital, there are 4 buckets. There is free traffic from Google. Google, as you know, is the king of search. So people go to Google to look for things. So you get free traffic from Google. That's called Google Organic or Google SEO. That's one. Second is Google Ads. You can again pay Google money to show you ads next to certain keywords or phrases like sedation or dentist near me or emergency dentist. That's Google Ads. And the third is free traffic from social media companies like TikTok and Instagram, or Facebook or YouTube. So that's again organic social media, just like organic SEO. It's organic social media. And then last one is social media ads, right? So ads are the most expensive. So I will only use it as a last resort. The other downside with ads is, people don't trust ads. So they are clicking on it with doubt. They're thinking, what's the catch? Why is this guy spending money on ads? Is he bad? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with her, right? So that's how they're thinking. So definitely I would use ads as a last resort because A, people don't trust it, and B, it's the most expensive. The one that, the 2 best ones obviously are free traffic from Google or free traffic from social media. Now, free traffic from social media belongs to the top 1%, meaning the ones who are called influencers. So if you're an influencer, you already have 50,000 plus followers, you have been spending 20, 30 hours a week, really, really, becoming an influencer at least for a few years. But if that's not you, if that's not your personality type, in my experience, 1% or less than 1% of my clients have that influencer personality type. If that's not you, then of course, I think the best option for you would be search engine optimization. Why? Somebody else can do it for you, and it's the lowest cost way to get new patients. Now, the catch here is it'll take time, and it'll take hundreds and hundreds of hours of effort. And it's not just one and done. You have to keep investing in it, on an ongoing basis to maintain your ranking and maintain your position.
Yeah, like building a storefront business. You just got to work at it, and it takes time to kind of develop and create momentum. I appreciate you mentioning that. And who better to ask about marketing concepts than the king of marketing himself, which is you, Naren. So if I'm thinking, I like what you're saying, and I want to go down this process of dropping more insurance plans and becoming, free of insurance influence in my practice or free of insurance contracts. What would you recommend would be the first next steps as far as the marketing component is concerned?
Yeah, the first next steps is, I think you need to decide what you're going to do, because if you are sick and tired of PPO plans, and if you really want to do something, you have to take that first step, which is starting to beef up your marketing, right? Of course, like we talked about, SEO is the lowest cost way to attract new patients. So I would recommend find out how you stand today with regards to your internet marketing, your digital marketing, as well as SEO. So I would recommend book a complimentary, what we call a marketing strategy meeting. It's equa.com/MSM, SM for marketing strategy meeting. Or you can go to insuranceuntangled.com/MSM. And when you book that meeting, we will spend hours doing some research, finding out where you stand, giving you a report card and a plan. And this report card and plan, the report card will tell you where you stand, and the plan will help you, do really, really well with digital marketing. So, once you know what to do, then you can take some action. So I would say go on the offense. Don't let insurance companies dictate your life and your future and your team's life and their future. Start doing the dentistry you enjoy. Start getting paid from people who appreciate what you do. Start attracting team members who want to work for high quality practice, a relationship driven practice where patients are choosing you, not because you're free, but rather because, they value what you do. And most of you listening are great dentists. I've read many of the reviews of our listeners, and, you guys have hundreds and hundreds of 4 stars and 5-star reviews. So you guys are good at what you do. So why are you, subjugating yourself to a situation where, the patient is choosing you, not because you're free, but rather because, they value what you do? And most of you listening are great dentists. I've read many of the reviews of our listeners, and, you guys have hundreds and hundreds of 4 stars and 5-star reviews. So you guys are good at what you do. So why are you, only people who come to you are the ones who are coming to you because you are free. Rather, build this proactive practice, build a practice where you are not, you could still have a few plans, the good ones that are paying you decently. And then the rest of the patients could be patients who are paying you full fees. So you have an amazing practice. You're doing, fee-for-service dentistry more and more and more. You're doing big cases more and more and more. So that's my wish for you. So once again, the link is insuranceuntangledcom/MSM.
Excellent, Naren. That's awesome. Really appreciate you today and for your wisdom and your recommendations and just pure education that you shared with all of us. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the listeners for an amazing episode. And so we also want to thank our listeners as we wrap up today's episode. Thanks for joining us today on another amazing episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. Give us some love. Like these episodes. Give us some reviews, 5 stars, hopefully. And don't forget to share this on social media or any other platform that you're using. Check out insuranceuntangledcom, especially for the links that Naren mentioned, insuranceuntangledcom/MSM for that marketing strategy meeting. But take a look at the other content as well in terms of future webinars and other educational content and perks that we'll be pushing out. We want to thank all of you again for joining us. Until next time, we wish all of you the very best of success. Take care.